A U-boat is a German submarine made famous by its use in the World Wars. The difference between a U-boat and a submarine is that a U-boat is a German sub, while a submarine is any underwater vessel. A U-boat's number is the sub's commissioning number. For instance, the U-33 was the 33rd sub commissioned by Germany. U-boats were great successes in the beginnings of both world wars, but by the end, U-boat technology was only equal to that of the opposing ships. U-boats were mainly used to prey on the defenseless merchant ships of Germany's enemies. Stealth was the U-boat's main advantage in being able to outrace and outmaneuver its enemies. U-boats were a weapon of stealth and secrecy. Their advantage was not in size or strength, it was in the ability to travel undetected. Before sonar and radar, it was virtually impossible to detect a submarine besides using your own eyes. U-boats dominated at night, and if the Germans had made more than what they did, the wars would have gone in Germany's favor. U-boats were equipped with torpedoes and a deck gun. The normal method of attack was to use the submarine's superior speed to get ahead of the ship it was attacking, then lie in wait until they're close enough to hit it with a torpedo. If the torpedo didn't sink it, which it normally didn't, the captain of the sub could fire another torpedo. The deck gun was the preferred method of finishing off a ship, but if the ship still looked dangerous, another torpedo would be launched. Living in a U-boat was very hard. There was little room aboard the submarine for the standard crew of 44 men. The pungent odors of sweat and fuel spread throughout the submarine. The submarine was dark. What little light there was had to be kept on all the time, so the crew had a very irregular sleeping schedule. The air inside the U-boat was stale. Fresh air and natural light only came if the submarine surfaced during the day. When the submarine surfaced, it was most vulnerable to attack, so it was surfaced only when absolutely necessary to recharge its fuel supplies. Life on a submarine is very monotonous, with nothing to do between the next attacks. The crew's nerves are always on edge due to passing depth charges dropped by boats. Life was equally as hard for the captain as for the crew. The captain must always be alert throughout the weeks that he is on the submarine. He has to deal with the odor and is as equally fresh air and light starved as his crew. The U-boat played a major part in World War I. It sunk British warships and merchant vessels. Although the U-boat sunk some ships, it was more luck than skill until better U-boats began unrestricted submarine warfare on any ship passing around Britain. A U-boat attacked and sunk the U.S. ship Lusitania, and 1,300 people died, including many children. This act prompted the United States to declare war on Germany in 1917. The U-boat was very important in World War II. It was Germany's only sea weapon. At the beginning of the war, Germany was running wild, with British ships sinking left and right, with almost no casualties for Germany. However, like in World War I, Britain started protecting its merchant ships with destroyers, a good anti-sub warfare ship. However, the British did not have enough destroyers to protect all their fleets, so they started using airplanes. Airplanes could only protect ships for a short distance, though, and the depth charges used could only be so successful. A depth charge is an explosive thrown from a ship that explodes in the water to damage the submarine. The United States entered the war, and with their resources producing destroyers and airplanes, Germany soon started losing the war. Germany still had a few tricks up its sleeve. They started producing a super sub that could travel faster and deeper than other subs, and for a longer period of time. A rubber coating also made it harder for radar and sonar to be used to detect it. The U-33. The U-33 was a Type VIIA German U-boat that was used in World War II. Its design was from a U-boat used in World War I. Its German name was the Unterseeboot 33, which is translated as undersea boat. It was first launched on June 11, 1936, and was in use for 4 years. The submarine had 3 commanders. The U-33 was in use for 3 patrols, totaling a little over 10 weeks in active patrol. It was very successful, sinking 10 ships before being detected on February 12, 1940, while it was setting mines around Scotland. Depth charges were dropped on it, and it was forced to surface. Crew members fled the ship, jumping into the water. The Allied powers captured part of the German code decryption machine from one of the survivors, who had forgotten his captain's order to throw it into the ocean in his haste to save his own life. Other parts of the machine, called the Enigma machine, were thrown into the ocean, but because one part was saved, it allowed Allied code breakers to advance their efforts to break the German code.